Okay. So a little bit of background on this problem.
Excuse me, there are 3 microphones on. Switch off the microphone, please. Can anyone tell the speaker, not the speaker, the gentleman at the podium, switch off, his microphone is on, and I cannot get what George is saying, please. Can anyone?
PA, so it's the distribution of IPv6 addresses to ISPs, not end users. We have.
Can anyone tell the gentleman at the podium to switch off his microphone because I can't get what he's saying, please? Can anyone tell the gentleman that to switch off his microphone because I can't get what is being said? Thank you.
It's obvious that if you are getting a space from AFRINIC, and under current policies, this is under justified need, you need to be announcing that space, okay? This has been the rule always, but for some reason, in the existing text of the IPv6 PA, we don't have that. It will be somehow a discrimination asking end user something that we are not enforcing for ISPs. Don't make sense at all. When I was, actually this was suggested in a conversation with the staff, okay? The staff told me, why you changed this in the IPv6 PI and you didn't change it the same in the IPv6 PA. Sorry, too fast? Okay. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so when I was drafting that text, I looked at all the policy text that we have right now, and I said, okay, there is something else that we should fix, and we will find in the next slides what I am talking about. And this is something that I explained it already this morning. What happens is that some of the policies, and especially the IPv6 policy, were drafted by AFRINIC, ARIN, and RIPE together before the existence of both AFRINIC and LACNIC. And then that was copied to LACNIC and AFRINIC. And of course, we duplicated the errors, okay? So in some other regions, we have already addressed those errors, but not here. So what I am suggesting here is just adding to the existing initial allocation criteria a new point, point D, which says the addressing space issued under this policy must be announced within 12 months and to the extent practicable as a single aggregate prefix in order to minimize the routing table growth. In some very special cases, the space may be not announced. However, it must be justified. And these cases are possible. They are not regular cases. But I can mention, for example, the situation of military. Sometimes military have big networks and they are not actually connected to internet because security reasons or whatever. So in those cases, it's perfectly valid, come to AFRINIC, tell AFRINIC, I need a /48 or I need a /32, whatever is the size they need. Maybe they are connecting other institutions, but in total, his network is actually disconnected from internet. So the space is not going to be announced, okay? I don't think that's the case in general for ISPs, but it may happen as well. Maybe there are ISPs building private networks that only connect companies among them and not to internet. It's a very strange case, but we need to keep our minds open to that. I think in general, in the future, everybody that today believes they don't need to be connected to internet, they are wrong. But we need to keep our minds open for that. And especially we need to align this policy with what we are asking to end users. What is the other change? Very simple. We have 0.6.5.4.2 that is asking for the operator infrastructure or giving slower. Okay, sorry. This point of the manual is, let's say, allowing operators to allocate or to assign a /48 for every POP. Why a registry need to tell operators how to do? The operators will decide if they need or not a /48 for every POP. And if instead of a /48 they need less or more, they can do it. If they are wasting a space, when they come back to AFRINIC to request more, they will need to justify the reasons for that. But it's ridiculous that we are asking them or allowing them to do this. So I think this should be completely removed, okay? It's a control that not make any sense today. It's going into the operations, very deep into the operations of ISPs. References, this has been already removed in most of the registries. A similar proposal that I submitted to APNIC reached consensus. It's one of the proposals that was presented this morning by the APNIC colleague. And there is a similar proposal, actually a bit more complex than this one, but similar in the basis, in RIPE, which yesterday I got an email from RIPE staff telling me that it will be published today, but finally they are going to publish on Monday because they are missing a small part of the impact analysis. But the draft impact analysis that I have seen is, this is perfect, no changes, no impact in our infrastructure. And up to now, all the discussions in the list have supported that policy as well. I didn't got any inputs, as I recall right now, in the list on this policy, and I think I am done. So it's just a matter of staff assessment.
Okay, thank you, Jordi. So the staff impact assessment for this policy. So our understanding is that AFRINIC LI or resource members can request for IPv6 space, okay, and that the space has to be announced within 12 months of them receiving the allocation from AFRINIC. AFRINIC hostmaster shall also inform the members about this policy requirement at the time of them registering the prefix WHOIS database. And we do understand that exceptions to announcements are possible, but have to be justified. A couple of questions while we were going through the policy. Shall failure of a member to announce within 12 months entail a breach of the RSA, of the Registration Service Agreement? And does this policy apply to resource members who will be receiving a prefix through a merger and acquisition? Okay, an IPv6 allocated PA, all right? Looking at what the impact regarding systems, in case the policy goes through and we have to implement. We note that the verification of the announcement shall be automated, and we require some changes on the MyAfrinic IPv6 allocation forms, some changes on the website as well to update the documentation, right? And the implementation period can be done timeline in the PDP, except for the automation. We will have to confirm that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I have a question for you. My question is basically, because what I am doing here is the same that we already did in the IPv6 PI, the consequence of not announcing will be the same for one or the other. So whatever decision you took in the IPv6 PI is the same here. Do you agree with that? I guess, yeah.
I hear you.
Okay, okay. I am fine with the automation. I think it's fantastic that it's not done manually, obviously. So I don't really care that if it takes more implementation. The other thing about the receiving IPv6 space in case of merger and acquisition, I think it should be the same because all the rules apply the same, right? In general. So it's not something specific to this policy. Oh, we have two mics.
Okay. Okay, we hear you. And yeah.
And my last point, if a member is requesting any resource, the expectation is that they actually follow the policies. Mm-hmm. Today, I could see that somebody get an IPv6 prefix and it needs 2 years or 3 years to deploy IPv6. But to announce the prefix in the routing table, it takes 1 hour. So giving them 1 year, in my opinion, is more than enough. That's obviously is my opinion, right? But I am trying to respond to the impact analysis because I didn't got it before. So it was difficult for me to address it before.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's it, basically. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhvi.
The members heard what the author said as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhvi and Jody. We now open the floor for contributions and reactions. Thank you.
Hello, this is Haruna again. Jody, I have gone through the proposal. That's the policy you've proposed, and I think it's a good one, but I have just one question. Looking at section 6.5.11D, the last sentence there, it says, in some very special cases, the space may not be announced. However, it must be duly justified. Can you give at least just one of such special cases that might warrant for the space not to be announced?
Yeah, I just give one example. Note that is one or the other. So if you announce, you don't need to justify. You are announcing it, okay? And the other choice is, in IPv6, there is not private addressing space, okay? So if you need to build an IPv6 network that is private, you need to get addressing. In this case, because it's private, because you don't need to connect to internet, you announce, obviously.
Okay. All in all, I think I support this, and it's a good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, on the mic in front, please go ahead.
Je m'appelle Jeanne Matambo. Désolée, je vais m'exprimer en français.
I'm John Matambo from DRC. Before lunch, I had some questions to ask, but we had to close the session and go for lunch. I would like to apologize, but you are presenting, you're making a quick presentation, and I would like to apologize for that. But the way you adjusted some items with regard to this IPv6 strategies, I would like for you to speak a bit about the deadline. You spoke about the deadline. It can be 12 months, but don't you have a shorter deadline? Deadline below 6 months? Eu percebi.
Information about the 12 months, right? 12 months is the same timing. Sorry, 12 months is the same timing we have been using in other policies. Like, for example, the one that we recently approved for IPv6 PI. So it's for IPv6 assigned to end users, okay? So I didn't choose the time because I thought it was a good number. I choose it because it's the same that we have in other policies, in the other policy. And I think it's more than enough. I think 12 months to do an announcement of an IPv6 prefix is perfectly fine. I believe it was in the previous AFRINIC meeting. Some people come to the meeting into a hackathon or IPv6 deployathon. I don't remember how it was called. And they announced their prefix in 1 hour. So clearly giving them 1 year is more than enough. Okay? And I believe AFRINIC is happy to help any member to solve their problems announcing the prefix if they don't know how to do that. So I don't see reasons for asking for, instead of 1 year, 2 years or something different.
Next at the back, please.
My name is Farouk Nasser from University of Ilorin, Nigeria. Thank you for this proposal, though my question is somehow not related to the timing, but I want you to convince me that, because we have, in IPv6, it's almost like infinite number of space we have, trillions. Why do I have to bother my head about enforcing announcement of prefix, this, that? We're not talking about a finite space that will be easily exhaustible, just like in the case of IPv4.
Okay, so the
why
thing
is the policy?
Is two folds. First, we have decided this already for end users. Okay.
Yes.
So you are. I understood that you are a university.
Yeah.
If it's a university, this policy is not affecting you. You have already a policy telling you that you should announce in 12 months. So because we asked you as university, as end user, to announce in 12 months, why ISPs don't have the same requirement? So what I am saying here is the community decided, I think it was 1 year ago, that we should ask an announcement in 12 months. Just an announcement, even if you don't deploy, but you should announce your prefix. So if we are asking that to universities, why an ISP that has more economical power typically than a university, and that has more reasons to move to IPv6, why should we not ask the same to ISPs?
Okay, exactly. So now, what significance do you have, do you drive that I have to announce? And, you know, just like the previous in the impact analysis, you talk about the breach, isn't it? So even though it's an open question in quote, what if I didn't announce? Does it have any impact?
If you don't follow, this is not part of this policy. This is part of the contract, the services contract of AFRINIC, okay? If you don't follow the policies, AFRINIC will tell you you need to follow, or you are against the policy manual and we should do something.
What I'm saying here is that this space, even in the next X amount of years, we are not going to exhaust it. So why bothering? Like, why do you have to start?
Because the rules of AFRINIC and all the registries are need basis. If you get resources, it's because you need them. If you tell AFRINIC you need them, but you don't announce and you don't provide a justification for not announcing, you are not following the rules.
Exactly. So, but what I'm saying here is that I know it's need basis, but you apply the context of need if you are dealing with a finite resource that could easily be exhausted. So, but in this case, what I'm trying to let you understand here is that I just need to be convinced that why do I really have to go into this? That's it. Because the space, even if you allocate it and I didn't use it, it's still not, we're not still going to exhaust it in the next.
Because our rules are
1 million years.
Again, our rules are based on need basis. If you get a resource, it's because you are going to use it. If you don't announce it and you don't justify that you are using internally, you are not following the rules, not just this policy, the overall umbrella of the registry rules.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just a quick note. for purposes of clarity, when you're on the mic, please state if you have a support or not support. Please state it clearly so that we can all know. And I request that you use your 1 minute and then stop, and then the proposer, the author, can also respond. Because when you talk at the same time, we are likely to lose many other people, especially in translations. Thank you so much.
Ok, merci. C'est M. Kakel de la République démocratique du Congo. Et donc, je pense que c'est une proposition qui...
I'm from DRC. I believe that this is a proposal that requires more knowledge or better understanding, especially when you speak about the African point of view. We have a lot of challenges in our country. Jordan, you spoke about the experience about the specific activities of the unit, the army, of the army, that they might use it, the system, without being connected to the internet. Now, in a country where, in a country such as ours, for example, it would be good for us to reflect on how we can use the system for the advantage in our country, because this type of infrastructure help us to build a lot of the data and a lot of information. I believe that through you, we will need more information on that so that we can get a better knowledge of the system as a whole. I'm not sorry. I believe that there are two microphones on. I cannot get what George is saying. One of the microphone is on, please. His microphone is off, please. George's microphone is off. I cannot get what he's saying. His microphone is off. Can you switch on? I'm not getting the sound. Okay, I can. Yeah, you can use that one. Thank you.
Switch off. So. Yeah, this one is working. I was not sure.
I'm not.
Understood that you are asking for more information. What I can tell you is when I do these policy proposals, I do because I think they are good for the community as well. I don't do because I like it, obviously. And why I believe this is good for the community? Because one of the problems that we have in many regions, again, not only in AFRINIC, is that we got resources, we don't have a deployment plan, and we never move on. If we ask the members to be serious that when they get resources, they start working and deploying it, and they have 1 year to do that, I am not telling them, you should do services in 1 year. That will be the ideal. But I will not at this time put that in a proposal. Maybe later, maybe in a few years from now. But now I want them at least to start announcing their prefix, because that's why the policy system works for need. And need means you start using it. I think it's good for the community that if you get a resource like IPv6 that sooner or later you will really need to provide to your customers, you get somehow enforced for in a period of time sufficient for you to do that. Again, I am sure, and training staff could confirm that they are already doing this to support members. So if members have problems to know how to announce their prefix, I believe, I hope somebody from the staff can confirm, but I believe that the staff is offering that support. So what that means, this is not an additional barrier. On the other way around, this is helping you to move on to IPv6. Thank you.
Next.
This is Alain Aina. So, Jordi, in response to one of the questions, you said that there is no private IP for IPv6. So, what happened to ULA? In one of the response to the previous question, you said there is no private IP for IPv6. So my question is, what happened to ULA?
ULA is only a /48. Okay? You cannot get a /32 from ULA.
Well, okay, but there is a ULA. ULA is still available to be used. Okay. Fine.
ULA is not exactly the same as private addressing space in IPv4, but that's probably a too much technical discussion here.
Okay, okay. Then my second point is I want to join what my brother from the other mother from Nigeria has said. Okay, it was, I think, sometime in the argument we fail to listen to each other and make the thing difficult. He is saying that when you have to show a detailed plan, then you provide connectivity, all these things. So then his question is, why are we now insisting again on the announcement? And my recollection from the past is that we added this to the IPv6 policy at the beginning because we were giving to people who were not ready. But now, normally, by fixing this, I don't think we need the D. This is what the guy was saying. After I've shown the plan, I show the plan, etc. No need for this at this time. We added this at the beginning because we were giving numbers to people, but some of them were not even ready. Then we said, if you don't announce 12 months, we recall. Yeah.
The problem, Alan, is that if we have section B that says show a detailed plan, and we are not checking it, is useless.
Get what the gentleman is saying, he's not using the microphone.
They are used. So we need to go step by step, pushing the community to really, if they get resources, please start using them. And 1 year should be more than enough. In addition to that, I insist that it will be discriminatory to ask that for end users, as we just recently approved, and not to ISPs.
Mic is closed. Allah, you can come and give you whatever, but the mic is now closed. No more additions. Thank you.
So I should speak before her, or we speak together? No, Allah, can I go?
Allah, you can give your last submission, and then we go on the next year.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, Jordi, I think what we are discussing here, sometimes, too much detail also creates.
Sir, can you switch off your microphone, please? Se você mostrar plano, se tu mostrar plano e para a AFRINIC, você deve certificar que está a seguir o plano. Se o plano dizer que eu irei apresentar o anúncio
This is supposed to be simple. Show the plan. Okay, staff evaluate their need based on the plan.
His microphone is off.
I'm Sharon Judith. I'm from Uganda. I work with Fundi Robotics, Uganda. I'm in full support of the proposal. Why? Because I see in the end, it leads to greater connectivity. Because yes, if the proposal is saying the person in should be a local internet registry and should show a detailed plan on how to provide, and then also show a reasonable plan for making use of it. I feel it's a good policy because it will lead to connectivity, and that's the main aim for AFRINIC after all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, and I think Jody will respond to all of them after they have finished. Thank you.
OK. Je réponds au nom de Binemo Gelor.
I'm from DRC. I'm on behalf of the Federation for the Milk Promotion in DRC. Mr. Jordi, I'd like to congratulate you for your presentation, but unfortunately, noticing that before a confusion. There's a confusion between the first presentation and the second presentation. I'm actually confused. after listening to both presentations. So will it be necessary to have a change, or there's a problem? Because the policy that you have shown is extremely important, but at the same time, there are some preconditions that we have to achieve in operational conditions. We do not know what to do. So when I look at the slide at point or item B, I have another question. In item B, which shows a detailed plan to provide IPv6 connectivity, can't you show how can we contribute so that we can increase the numbers of users? Because when you present the plan, some of the items are not specific, and if that happens, I believe that we continue being confused.
I am not changing section B.
No.
I can argue with you about if section B today is correct or not, but I am not changing that. My proposal is only to add section D. Okay, so section B reached consensus long time ago. I don't remember how many years have been there. So what I am saying is, because section B says there must be a plan, and we recently approved for end users that in addition to a plan, they should announce the space in 1 year, we should request the same for ISPs. How this can help growing users? Because if we somehow do small steps to push ISPs to do their job, obviously sooner we will get IPv6 connectivity for end users, okay? Is something that we can prove? Nobody, because it depends on the willingness of ISPs and their bosses, because it's not just about engineers, it's decision makers to move to IPv6. But at least from the side of the community, we can tell, you got resources, please start using it. You have 1 year to do that. You need help, we can help you. In 1 hour, you will be working. Okay? But just in case, we'll give you 1 year to do that job.
Okay, thank you, Jody. We are closing unless you have one last submission since you were the last, okay? I'll allow you to say that.
Je suis d'accord avec vous. Mon problème, c'est que...
I agree with you, but I would like to have a better understanding how the political entities will help AFRINIC to deal with IPv4 address, because when you want to add something, you need to give us a space on how to overcome some blockage that might arise. So that's all.
I understand that your question is, let's say, not so much specific to this proposal, but overall, not just about this proposal. That's what I am understanding from the translation. So is you support the proposal, but we should do something else to start moving, right? More or less. Otherwise, the translation is not working very well. We can talk in the coffee break, probably. It will be easier. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jody. We've come to the end of this presentation, and right now we need a few minutes for consult. We need to take remote participants if there is any. So there are no remote participants. So we, as co-chairs, regarding our decision on this, we are pushing it to the last call, where if there is any other submissions can be submitted. Thank you. So next.